Hello and welcome to the Daily Atheist Morning Show. It is Tuesday, the 1st of December, 2020. I am your host, the amazing Super Chris. I hope you're having a wonderful day so far. Thank you for joining us on this ungodly hour. I'm stealing it somehow. I want to make it work somehow. Anyway, my co-host Andy Hall is joining me this morning. We haven't seen Nokasuchi yet. He was probably up last night dueling with Christians all night, maybe sleeping in. Hopefully he's okay because, he did have the cooties and then he got other cooties and he had blood clots and he's got stuff. So we don't know. You never know with him. I hope he's doing okay, but we'll see. We're going to talk about some Catholic stuff because, Catholics have, once again, the predator priest thing has reared its ugly head. So we're going to talk about that a little bit today. Good morning. Right after that.
Hello all, Chris Mallard here, atheist extraordinaire, host of the Daily Atheist Morning Show, and currently burning in hell. Oh, don't worry about me, I'm not dead. I'm just down here for the annual Christmas party. I mean, annual Solstice Awards party. The Dark One, or Lucy as he is affectionately known, is personally handing out the awards. Aaron Ra is getting the award for the most souls brought down by evolution for his African fossil hunt, and Matt Dillahunty has won the Golden Phallus Award for being a dick to the most Christians. Oh wait, it's the Golden Fallacy Award for the confusing the most Christians. Easy mistake to make. To top it off, Seth Andrews has lent his voice to the Gregorian chants this year. It's delightfully hellish. Gotta run. I hope you all had a happy Thanksgiving, if you're into that sort of thing, and I want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas. A happy holidays, happy solstice, and a happy new year. Stay safe, heathens. Party hard, fornicate, that sort of thing. But do it safely.
All right. Good morning, everyone. I hope you had a great day. Good morning, Andy. How you doing this morning, bud?
Good morning. I was just about to say good morning to Wooly Ignorant on my chat, but I'll now have to do that verbally. Good morning, Wooly Ignorant.
Good morning, Wooly Ignorant. Yes. Good morning to everyone. Thank you all for joining us. I want to say hello to everyone in the chat, the damnation. Thank you all for joining us. Paul Camish is here. Good morning, Paul. I hope you're doing good. Man, when are you going to get to fly again? I haven't been keeping up. You need to fly again. It's been a day or three since you've been doing the flying thing. Wooly Ignorant is here. Let's see who else in our channel here. Cindy Plaza. Good morning, Cindy Plaza. AA. Hello, AA. Thank you for joining us. We've got Wooly Ignorant. Oh, hey, Wooly's stalking Andy, too. And Miss Rowe. I'm doing this without my glasses. Are you guys proud of me? Oh. And James Morning. Good morning, everybody. Thank you all for joining us. And all the people watching on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, and listening on the Daily Atheist Morning Show podcast live. You guys are all wonderful. Thank you for joining us this morning. Oh, also on Discord. I got it working. Not that I know how to use it, but I got it working. Anyway, good morning, everybody. I hope you had a great day. Super Andy.
Yes.
Did you hear the thing about the people doing the thing?
Well, we were just talking. Well, I did hear about that, but I wanted to touch on what we were talking about before the show came on. That you were
okay. Excellent. Go ahead.
That you were busting on me because you had decided to give yourself a halo of fire, and then you were mocking me. You were mocking me because I did not have a halo of fire. And you see, and this is an important public service announcement here for people on my channel and people who are basically, somehow exposed to me on a daily basis, either my girlfriend or my kids or coworkers or when I have
corrections officers
or friends, yeah, exactly. And the reason why I like not having a halo of fire around me is because, my brand is don't get your hopes up. That's me. You're saying I set the bar low. I'd say, well, don't get your hopes up. Just any other comedian will tell you, you're only as good as your last joke. And sometimes those jokes don't work well, Chris. Sometimes they don't work that well. So it's just so if you lower expectations, people will be like, wow, maybe he's not such an idiot. Maybe he will make me laugh at least every third thing that comes out of his mouth, or maybe not.
Or maybe they will think, yes, he is an idiot, but he may make me laugh. I get it. I see where you're going. Yeah.
Exactly.
Either or, it's a win-win for you.
So when so my brand being don't get your hopes up, that means I typically overperform.
That's a good point. I like that. That is comedy right there. That's good stuff, man. We need I don't have a laugh track. Just
so Gary Priestley in my chat said, have you ever had a joke not work, Andy? Oh yeah, many times. Jokes don't work. You just work. Some jokes will work in front of certain crowds. Other jokes will not work in front of other crowds. And the same joke that it can be pretty bad. I had one joke, and by the way, you might be surprised that when I was doing some open mics, years ago, I might have had too much to drink, and so I did one joke so badly. I basically crumbled up into a fetal position on stage, laughing and crying out, I can't believe I messed up that joke.
So yeah,
that's how bad it can be. That's how bad it can be.
Hey, good morning, Dragons in Genesis podcast. Thank you for joining us. It's Jason, folks. Thank you for joining us. I hope you guys are all having a great day. Ronan, Kanushi, good morning, Ronan. Gary Priestley, thank you all. So we did the thing. Now that are you ready to move on about the thing with the Catholics and the thing? Because the Catholic thing is a joke. We joke about it. People joke about it. As if it were a past tense thing. Oh, you remember back in the day when those wacky Catholics and the pedophile predator priest thing, and they hid all that, and they were hiding people. You remember back in the day? That's kind of how the jokes tend to roll off. And yet, it's really actually still going on right now today. And it's not only that it's going on that priests are doing that they're actually still pedophile priests or predator priests. To be more specific, it's that the church is still hiding them.
Do you know what I'm allergic to, Chris? Do you want to know what I'm allergic to?
Ooh, tell me.
I'm allergic to bullshit. That's what I'm allergic to. That's my one curse word for the show for today. I just want to let you know that. I'm allergic to it. So whenever I get near a church, a Catholic church, especially when my kids were younger, even now, it is, I go through some kind of apoplectic fit, some kind of seizure of rage many times, not all the time, but it'll just be like effing pedophiles, kid effers. Yeah, my kid's probably youngest memory of the Catholic Church is me saying those kid effers as we drove by the local Catholic parish. And you know what? And this actually gets me a little rage here, so I'm going to just go here. Since Rage isn't here, I'm going to take his job.
Somebody has to.
For a minute, is that there are some very nice humanists and atheists out there that preach or tell their children, or have this philosophy with their kids that, you can't tell them God isn't real. You got to let them figure it out themselves. It's like, all right, so we can argue that point, but how can you go around not telling your kids that there are that there are real monsters in the world, right? I mean, age appropriately. My kids don't have any PTSD from me telling them the truth about the Catholic Church.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I mean, my kids funny. Both kids are funny, so maybe that's a sign of some kind of deep.
Both kids are funny.
Right,
they got it from their mother.
Yeah, well, that's what it is. Yeah.
You were saying,
but what was this? The Dragons in Genesis podcast says, "Hit the like button, or the Catholic priest will think you're cute." Thank you, Dragons in Genesis podcast.
Thanks for keeping it classy, Jason.
It's keep elevating. We're leveling up the show today.
Yes.
So I have been very honest. I've been quite honest about what the Catholic Church does and how they hide pedophiles in their midst, and how they nourish pedophiles and they protect pedophiles. And I think my children are better for it, and I feel a lot better because I am telling the truth. I'm just telling the truth.
I mean, the sheer numbers. Oh my goodness, of the. It's good to tell your children so they'll be aware. I mean, be careful around Catholic priests. Don't give them a sense of false security around these. I want to use the word monsters because you don't know which one is. I mean, which one is which one is going to do it, which one is not going to do it, which one's been doing it for years, which one did it, got caught, confessed or whatever, and then got shuffled around to a new parish or a new church. You know, I tell you, man, I don't remember where I saw this, like on a meme or something, but if Hardee's, for example, the sandwich making place,
I know who Hardee's is.
They had this kind of, I meant for the other people, everybody else.
Okay.
If you're unawares, if there's a sandwich making place, if Hardee's spread across the country, if they had a predator employee situation where they were molesting children like this, they would have shut that business down a long time ago. But, you know, whenever it's attached to religion, the Catholic Church, the Boy Scouts. Andy, are you ready? I just figured that's a trigger word for you. The Boy Scouts. Cub Scouts, Boy Scouts. Yeah, I mean, whenever those places, whenever the child predators are in those groups, they get overlooked for so long until it's just horrible. I'm just saying.
It's in my chat. Non-Able says, inspired by the Catholic Church. I've recently been saying that there are real monsters in this world, and every one of them is a person. Too true, my friend.
Oh yeah,
that's what it is. So we'll get on to the stories now that I've had my a few minutes of anger.
Okay.
I think I've been able to, and now there'll be other anger. Don't worry, there'll be more
anger. Oh yeah, no doubt.
It's like you gotta just like release it. You gotta release the valve a little bit, let some out, close it up again. But don't worry, there'll be more coming out.
You're in Boston, right? Remember that movie? What was that movie that came out about the scandal? Wasn't that about Boston?
It was, of course, it was about. Yeah, I'm sorry, I don't want to. Yes, it was about Boston. It got Best Picture.
How many priests in Boston were we talking about? Do you remember off the top of your head?
Oh, it was generations.
7 or 8, maybe 9 or 10 priests.
Yeah, I mean, how many did they get caught? I'll tell you this about Cardinal Law is that they whisked Cardinal Law in the dead of the night out of the state and over to Vatican City, so he wouldn't get prosecuted. I'll tell you that right now.
Really?
You know, Father Gagan, he was one of the priests in jail that got into jail. I think he was depicted in Spotlight. He died in jail, as I recall.
See, there was a happy ending. I love stories with happy. Thank you, baby Jesus.
Right. So Spotlight came out in 2016, and if anyone, and of course it, won Best Picture. I believe it won Best Picture. It is definitely a movie you should see. It is worth your time, especially if you're, just kicking around and got some time on your hands. Spotlight. It's got a great cast. It's a well done movie. Wow. And like Michael Keaton, fantastic movie.
Yeah, the deal is I had no idea. I had like zero idea how many or how bad it was. I was being kind of facetious a few minutes ago. I was like, how many was it? 5 or 6? It wasn't 8 or 9 priests. No, it was hundreds of priests. What, like 1,200 priests or something that got wrapped up in that scandal? Somewhere along there was hundreds of priests.
Well, they have a closed church
in Boston.
I'll have to tell you
about Boston.
On my way to work, when I was working in Watertown, Massachusetts, there are a couple of Catholic churches that had to be sold and turned into condos, really nice condos, because of the lawsuits against the Catholic Church, against the Boston Diocese, and it still makes me feel good when I drive by them.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's just the sheer numbers, though, is kind of where I'm going with the sheer numbers. It was hundreds and hundreds of priests just in Boston. How many priests did that in New York City? How many of them have done it in Washington? How many of them did it in Seattle? How many of them did it in Colorado, California? Do you know, in New Mexico, right here in my very own state, we have this Catholic church. I don't remember where it is. It's a little parish, a little ancient 100-year-old parish where they used to shuffle. That's one of the places where, if you got caught, they'd send you to New Mexico to hide you out for a couple of years, and then they would move you on. And there was this rash of molestations in the town that parish was in. Gee, who saw that coming? And then of course these pastors, after a couple of years there, would be moved on. Priests, would be moved on to other parishes, other churches.
Well, the numbers are staggering. Here's a story from 2018 about the case in Pennsylvania. Which is written by Michael Stone over at on Pathos at his blog, Progressive Secular Humanist. And like I said, this is from 2018. Most of us will remember this story. I'll just give you the high point if we're talking about numbers of insanity. Earlier this week, the Pennsylvania Supreme Court released a sweeping grand jury report on sex abuse in the Catholic Church. The report documents the rape and sexual abuse of more than 1,000 children by more than 300 predatory priests. So that gives you a grasp, an idea about what kind of numbers we're talking about. And maybe another thought experiment might be useful is that when you think about the chronic amount of corruption with Wall Street, for an example, that led up to the financial crisis, or, so how much did you catch? What kind of, the system itself was corrupt. The system itself was rotted. And that's what the Catholic Church is.
Absolutely. And that's what we see that's what I was sitting there this morning. We moved away from politics. I got to tell you, people, politics was like shooting fish in a barrel when it came to setting up what we're going to talk about tomorrow. We actually started waiting until the morning before because politics is so crazy and so fruitful with topics that we started waiting till the next morning because we'd pick a topic the day before and I'd make the logos, the GIFs, and all the cool stuff. And then something weird and crazy would happen and we'd end up not talking about the thing. So we started waiting. But when it comes to religion, it's so obscured by what's going on, So I'm sitting here this morning going, what am I going to talk about? What am I, and I'm looking around. I hadn't made a show yet. I'm looking, trying to think about. And then I came across this article that I sent to Andy. And what's going on is that I don't remember. I don't have the article. I couldn't see it anyway. But there is another church scandal where, again, they're covering up. They've been covering up. They've been moving people. We're still going through this. The Catholic Church, like Andy often says, cannot monitor itself, cannot be allowed.
I just want to shout out to a couple of people here in the chat. Dragons and Genesis points out that the Pennsylvania story that I was talking about wasn't even all of Pennsylvania. There are multiple areas not covered in that study. And I just want to give a shout out to Jason from over Dragons and Genesis podcast. I've been listening to the Book of Enoch section of the podcast. There are like maybe 5 episodes. Loving it. Definitely worth your time if you're interested in the Book of Enoch and Christian New Testament theology there. Gary Priestley also says that it looks like maybe 6% of the Catholic priests in the Boston area were involved in the Catholic priest predatory sexual abuse investigation. That comes up to about 90 or so. And like we were mentioning, it's like that's just a section, an area of the state of Massachusetts. So who knows how many more of these predators were out there and are still out there. Right. So maybe we should actually get to the article, Chris.
Yeah. Well, real quick, I got a question in my chat about, am I asking me if I'm talking about the one in Old Town, the church in Old Town? I don't think so. I think it's from a little town. So it could be though. That's the unfortunate thing really about the Catholic Church and the whole scandal. It could be both. There could be a little church in a little town, a little pueblo somewhere here in New Mexico where they did back in the day shuffle priests and move them through, just as I said. I just don't remember exactly where this place was. And because it's the Catholic Church scandal, yes, indeed, it's possible that it could also have been the one here in Old Town. Would anybody be surprised? Would anybody clutch your pearls and go, "Oh my goodness, I can't believe it"? No. So I'm not really sure on that, but I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
So now, Andy, to the article, sir, to the article.
This is from Michael Stone, who writes over the Progressive Secular Humanist over on Pathos. The name of the article is New York State Sues Buffalo Diocese for Failing to Protect Children from Predatory Priests. Moral failure. The New York Attorney General Letitia James has filed a lawsuit against the Buffalo Diocese of New York for failing to protect children from predatory priests. Associated Press reports. New York attorney General Letitia James. Let me try that again because words are coming out of my mouth, but at the wrong pace, Chris. They're not a good rhythm to the words.
Just focus on the words. Don't worry about the camera. Just focus on the words.
New York Attorney General Letitia James on Monday sued the Roman Catholic Diocese of Buffalo and two former church leaders, alleging they covered up allegations of sexual misconduct and misused charitable assets by supporting predatory priests who were allowed to retire or go on leave. The lawsuit against the diocese, former Bishop Richard Malone and former auxiliary Bishop Edward Grosz, Grosz. I'm pronouncing that as Grosz. Maybe it's Grosz.
Okay.
Follows a 2-year investigation. It found church leaders sheltered accused priests by letting them step away from ministry rather than follow mandated procedures that would subject them to possible removal from the priesthood by the Vatican.
Subject them to possible removal. So they played the shuffle card game with them. What's that game called? Played that game with them. The shell game. We'll call it the shell game.
The shell game with these 3-card Monty? Are we talking 3-card Monty?
There you go. Yeah. That's the one. That is the one. We're doing that with our priests here to try to avoid getting them the punishment or kicked out of the priesthood. Is that wrong? Am I wrong? That's a good analogy. I like analogies.
The 3-card Monty, and from what I understand, if you ever there is no way to win in 3-card Monty unless you're actually the person running the scam. That's what I've heard. So I think that's a really good metaphor analogy there, Chris, about the Catholic Church just moving these priests around like 3-card Monty, and no one can win unless you're the Catholic Church.
Right. I mean, I'm reading the movie Spotlight. The article continues. Carry on.
The article continues. ABC News reports New York Attorney General Letitia James filed a lawsuit on Monday against the Catholic Diocese of Buffalo, blah, blah, blah. They engaged in years-long cover-up of accusations of sexual abuse of minors by local priests. In a statement, New York Attorney General Letitia James said, for years, the Diocese of Buffalo and its leadership failed to protect children from sexual abuse. Instead, they chose to protect the very priests who were credibly accused of these atrocious acts. The actions of the Buffalo Diocese are morally repulsive. This is Michael Stone's putting in his 2 cents. In one instance, church leaders allowed a priest to remain in ministry even after the diocese learned of 8 alleged sexual abuse cases involving young children. Let me read that again, just in case anyone missed it.
Slower, maybe, for the slow bowlers.
The actions of the Buffalo Diocese are morally repulsive. In one instance, church leaders allowed a priest to remain in ministry even after the diocese learned of 8 alleged sexual abuse cases involving young children. So that's 8.
I was going to do that. That's this many.
Wow.
Many. Or like if you're German, I guess you'd be this many. Anyway, carry on, Andy. So that's a lot, actually, though. I mean...
Yeah,
I'm not being flippant. That's a lot.
The BBC notes, quote, other priests in the diocese were accused of other abuses, including taking majors to see pornographic movies, discussing inappropriate topics, and molesting young girls and altar boys. And I'll just jump to the end of the article. Bottom line, New York Attorney General... let me say that again because it makes me the way that I say it makes it sound like she's a general, Chris, and she is not. She's a attorney general. So let me say that again. Bottom line, New York Attorney General Letitia James has filed a lawsuit against the Buffalo Diocese of New York for failing to protect children from predatory priests. So there you go.
Good on her, by the way.
Yes, it is good on her. And attorney generals matter. Within a state, they matter, and a lot of the times people don't know that much about them, and I don't. I know the ACLU has been trying to raise awareness about the state attorney general prosecutors, so that we, the people, are treated more fairly.
I got a comment here from Ronan. Says Attorney General Letitia James is also going after President Trump. Can we say Governor James? Senator James, etc. Okay, you know, I would root for her so far. I don't know. Yeah. I mean, if you're going after Trump, that's already scoring points with me. So, but good on her for what she's doing there against the Catholic Church.
And this is what I like about Michael Stone. I've read a couple of his articles about this particular topic, and he just lays it right on the line here. I'll just read you this paragraph that I glossed over just now. This is a bit of editorializing on his part. Yet, despite overwhelming evidence that the Catholic Church is profoundly and irredeemably morally corrupt institution that allows children to be treated as disposable sex toys for predatory clergy, Catholics continue to support the church. In doing so, Catholics fund the cover-up and make the continuing rape and sexual abuse of children by Catholic clergy possible. If you are giving money to the Catholic Church, if you are going there and you are basically supporting them, you are supporting them. And Michael makes this great point, which I've said many times. Maybe that's why I think it's a great point, that if you support the Catholic Church, then you are supporting kid effing. You are just doing it.
Right. And on a massive, massive scale.
Yeah. It's an industrial scale. It's like like the Catholic Church is like this James Bond villain organization like SMERSH or one of the other ones that in James Bond movies. They are a worldwide criminal organization.
Absolutely. Yep. I made an audio recording of a commercial a long time ago. I've even submitted it to Andy. I may have played it here on the show once, called called Father Flanagan's Line of Inflatable Altar Boys, and it comes on. It's got this Irish accent. It's like, "Are you tired of constant litigation from getting sued?" You know, and it goes on about how, you know, don't get sued. Do this thing. Use Father Flanagan's Line of Inflatable Altar Boys to protect your. It's funny because it's true. We still have this problem. When did the movie was called Spotlight.
And once again, it was 2016. Another article that Michael Stone wrote about Spotlight, he makes this observation earlier this month and this is from 2016. Earlier this month, in a disturbing revelation, a newly released Catholic Church document informs bishops they don't have to report accusations of clerical child abuse to the police.
Pourquoi?
There you go.
They didn't say why?
Earlier this month, in a the church documents informs bishops they don't have to report accusations of clerical child abuse to the police. I imagine that means if they're hearing a confession by a kid effer, then they don't have to go out, because supposedly the magic words that are spoken in confession are secret magic words. And so the priests, because it's religious liberty, Chris, because it's religious liberty that these priests don't have to, they're not mandatory reporters in a sense.
Right. Well, they should be. See, that indeed adds to their shame. When was that published again, if you don't mind?
That was 2016. Actually, if people go over to the previous article that I was talking about from Progressive Secular Humanist about the New York State's Buffalo Diocese, there's actually a couple of links embedded in that article, which you can follow up on it. And like I said, Michael does a very good job in fleshing out the background of these stories.
Let's see here. Boolienator. Good morning, Boolienator. I hope you're having a wonderful week so far. Boolienator says, let me get this straight. They think that the First Amendment protects them from reporting a crime.
Yeah. It's really just how, religious liberty, blah, 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 that kind of stuff. So when people,
I get that until it hurts other people. I get it until it hurts other people, until it hurts the most vulnerable of us.
Yeah. I love my girlfriend. I think her parents are pretty good, but her dad's a papist. Her dad's a Catholic. And during, just before, and, I got ambushed with a prayer, actually. We were doing the Zoom thing on Thanksgiving. And And then all of a sudden, he just like before they start eating, they just kind of he just kind of goes into a prayer, and I'm like, oh, well, I guess I'll just do what I usually do. I'll just keep my eyes open and just kind of look away.
Look around and see who else isn't bowing.
Yeah. But yeah, man, it burns me. Yeah, because even in those situations, to tell you the truth, I feel like if I'm not actively talking about the kid efforts in the Catholic Church, I feel like somehow I'm being made complicit in the crime, right? If you're not speaking up against the criminal organization as it's being invoked in your presence, somehow I feel like I am made complicit in the crime, and it makes me feel dirty. That's what it does.
Good point. Jack-o'-lion Roarsing. Let me do this. This is all right. Sorry, Jack-o'-lion. I gotta. Jack-o'-lion Roarsing from your chat.
Yeah.
Says, do you think it comes from hubris as head priests, or the misguided idea only God should judge sin?
Well, this is an interesting example of how I'm going to put on my Christopher Hitchens hat on a little bit and talk about religion ruins everything, poisons everything. Is that organizations typically want to keep the power that they have, right? That it doesn't matter what organization it has, whether or not you're a brokerage firm on Wall Street, or if you're the Republican Party. The goal of an organization, in part, is to stay in power and to keep the power that they have and to grow their power. So, any institution has an incentive not to make themselves look bad. And that means, holding up the rug and then just kind of sweeping things under the rug. So they have that incentive to begin with. But when you couple that with the idea that they are God's church, they are the, Catholic, it means the one, the true church. And when you have that running through the central nervous system of crazy monkeys that we are, then I think that gives you even double the incentive to do horrible things and just say, hey, look at all the good things that we do. Or God, we can't be that bad, right? How can we be the monsters? We're God's true church on earth. I hope that
clearly they are.
Yeah. So that's me getting into their heads, I think. And I hope that answered at least part of the question, Jack Lyon. So yeah, I think that any institution has a tendency of sweeping their dirt under the rug, but it becomes doubly toxic when you have religion added into the mix.
Absolutely. And then, of course, they can get away with it. Paul Camish said, where did his comment go? Let me see if I can find it here. I saw it. It's hiding from me. And, of course, I'm half blind anyway. Let me do it over here. Maybe I can see it. Paul Camish said, there we go. It's not just confession. They can't report on anyone in the church. They are to report it to the Vatican.
Yeah.
So, I mean, really, this is like from the Vatican. That's like on high. The order is on high to not report. This isn't individual parishes so much. So I mean, they've been paying out billions, right? Is it in the B now or just in the billions?
It has to be in the billions. I mean, I don't have the numbers right here. Yeah.
Yeah, it has to be in the B with a B, billions. They paid out billions of dollars. They've been sued. Some priests have been murdered by their victims. That's happened several times. We've had movies that expose the sheer volume. I mean, my mind was blown by how many priests were involved just in that one city. I was like, I didn't know there were that many priests in the whole state. And yet there's that many priests in that city who had done the thing. How many of them were in that city who didn't do the thing and then didn't report? I mean, it was just the numbers are staggering. Just blew away my mind.
It's an interesting question whether or not there was this question, observation here in my chat by non-useful. I felt guilty when I was silent on the subject. I speak out now. And you can imagine the reactions I get in the Bible Belt. Oh yeah, I imagine you're not making any friends when you're pointing out the issues of faith in the Bible Belt. Yeah, And the thing is, pedophiles or people who are abusers are attracted to positions of power in general, right? So if you're
that's why I was trying to title it predator, because they're not all necessarily pedophiles. They're just predators. They are, but they're it's a bigger scope. It's not just the kid effers. It goes beyond that. Like Andy was about to say before I interrupted him. Sorry, Andy.
Yeah, but the church definitely offer. I mean, if you're a pedophile, right? If you're an abuser, then your natural hunting ground would be the Catholic Church, right? I mean, think about it. People who are really religious are typically people who are in trouble, right? And they bring their kids into the church, or you're doing charitable acts for the kids who don't have parents, or for foster kids, kids who don't have many supports to begin with. And so these children, they are wounded prey already, and that's why pedophiles like going into the Catholic Church. That's where the prey is, basically. That's where the kids are, the weak ones, that without the supports. It's despicable. That's what it is. It is despicable.
Bull says the reason they go through the Vatican is it adds diplomatic community aspect to the crime, which to me just makes it even dirtier.
Well, Cardinal Law, he was given a church. I mean, when he went over to Vatican City, this guy who was involved in Spotlight, he was a cardinal here in Boston for decades. As I recall, he was given a church to oversee in Vatican City. What an effed up organization is that?
Yeah, didn't you were mentioning it earlier, didn't you, that they ran him across the state lines?
Well, they flew him out. They flew him out of Logan.
Yeah.
They flew him out of Logan.
Just crazy.
That night, so he wouldn't get into trouble. Went over to Vatican City, got himself some diplomatic immunity. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there are a lot of things. Now, we just talk about this. There are other things that we could be, I guess, possibly talking about if we wanted to just completely throw the Catholic Church under the bus. Have you guys heard about the nunnery, or I don't remember what it was, in Ireland, where they found the bodies of all the children that the nuns were killing, or abortions, or I don't really remember. It doesn't take long. You don't have to go far to find atrocities from the Catholic Church. It doesn't end with.
I just want to remind those people who might be a little bit younger than we are about how the church was definitely against condom use in sub-Saharan Africa during the middle of the AIDS epidemic.
Yeah.
Now think about that. Think about how crazy anti-masking is in the age of COVID, right?
Put
that and multiply that 1,000,000 times in sub-Saharan Africa, and the church telling people, not to use this simple public health measure,
right,
to help prevent the spread of AIDS. But that's faith. That's faith right there.
And it's just once again, the church, I'm going to say the church, meaning the Catholic Church specifically this time, taking the absolute wrong side on something. It's more of a sin to put a piece of rubber over your penis before you have sex with someone than it is, to do what? What's the problem? It's a sin. Why is it a sin? And yet to go around killing, they killed. I would say the Catholic Church, just in that, that's millions of deaths. You can't calculate the amount of people who died or were harmed by the Pope. And actually, in case you're curious, it was also Mother Teresa. That was another thing Mother Teresa kind of latched onto as well. So how many millions of people? Why do we still listen to that organization at all? Pourquoi?
Partially, and I'll say this: it's partially because of the silence of people who know about the information. It is partially because, it is partially because there are those of us who know about this and will not talk about it in public. Why is there so much stigma against atheists? It's because a lot of us who can publicly state that they are atheists with little to no repercussions refuse to do so because we're afraid. The reason why there's so much of this. So many Catholic pedophiles out there. And I know what I'm saying right now, Chris, isn't going to make me popular. Is those of us who know about these things need to speak speak out about them. You just need to do it.
And this is the article we presented with this show is the evidence that to this day they're still not. Sure. The people who know are still hiding it. Why are they still hiding it? Why is this still a thing? It should not be a thing. It should be so
it's
done.
Just like with everything else about the church is that why isn't the church burning witches anymore? It isn't because of religion. It's because of humanism. It's about the idea that forces outside of religion, outside of the church, came in and forced the church to reform. That is as simple as that. Why isn't there chattel slavery anymore in the U.S.? It isn't because of religion. It's because of forces outside of religion acted on religion to get it to behave itself.
Right. No, that's very true. Very true. Yeah. And in this case, it's just this, the numbers are so staggering. It just boggles the mind that they continue to get away with it. They continue to do these things in such vast numbers. And this is really like the cream. This is the cream of the crop here. We are the bad guys.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Well, I have to.
Are the bad guys. Andy, you're an atheist. You're a bad guy. Where are you going? To hell. Sorry.
Right.
We're the bad guys. I mean, for a simple lack of belief. And yet they've got institutionalized child rape for, you could argue centuries, but let's just go decades, centuries. Yeah, at least a century here. And then there's little be done with it. We talk about the vast amount of gold and money that the Catholic Church has, and man, they got a lot of money because they've been taking the money from the people for a long time, and the gold and everything, and they're using a lot of it to keep their doors open because the Boy Scouts couldn't. The Boy Scouts didn't quite have the gold in the Vatican that the Catholic Church has, and the Boy Scouts are now trying to go under. Is that not? Am I remembering?
That's correct. They're trying to protect themselves from lawsuits with seeking bankruptcy.
It's like
we talked about that
12 or 13 lawsuits, right? Isn't that right? Oh no! It was like 100,000 claims against them or some.
There was the LA Times did a lot of good work with the Boy Scouts of America, and it turned out the BSA. I wish my fictitious God I was making this up, but they had files called the perversion files. The perversion files in the BSA, where it was just a record of pervy stuff done by Scoutmasters, done by those affiliated volunteers in the BSA. Yeah, perversion files.
I just want to point out it's a good Christian organization. They're good God-fearing people. You know they are good God-fearing people.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, that again is like if you come across a group of good God-fearing people, the example here really is that be afraid, be very afraid, keep your children locked up. Do not leave your children alone with these people ever. That's just kind of, if you Christian religious nutbags, no. Keep them
I just want to give some background on the perversion files. I just did a quick Google search. This is from Slate magazine. The perversion trials, a trove of previously secret Boy Scout files naming roughly 1,500 Scoutmasters and volunteers who have been accused of child molestation was made. This is back from 2012. Was made public this afternoon. A move that provided detailed and troubling look inside the American institution long prided itself, on blah, blah, blah. Perversion files, real thing from the Boy Scouts of America. One of the many reasons why, they're being sued into bankruptcy or they're seeking bankruptcy.
One of my favorite channels here on the internet is the Atheist News Channel. I'm going to post a link if you're not familiar with the Atheist News Channel. Really enjoy Steve DeMarco's stuff over there. Get out of the way. The thing was in the way. Anyway, with the Atheist News, he does this bi-weekly show, Atheist News. And I don't really have to go pick one. Any one of them, I could, because I watched them looking, to be honest, I watch his shows looking for topics for this show. Because, it's a source. And so we don't normally talk about the sex thing with religious people here. It's never been a topic. This is the first time I think we've ever covered it like this. But when I go watch his videos over there, I mean, almost every one of them, whenever he's going, this is what's in the news, the atheist news, religion news. I mean, I want to say half of the little articles that he throws in there are about priests, preachers, imams, people in religious power, the P word that Andy used earlier, in power, in religious positions, molesting children. You would be shocked. Every time I haven't made a show about it, and I don't think he goes out of way. He just finds the news because it's just peppered in there with other news. This crazy pastor went without a mask. This crazy pastor tried to bless a goat. This pastor molested children. This one molested children. This one molested children. You can't swing a dead cat without hitting a pastor or priest, a church leader, etc., who isn't doing the thing.
You know, so, I was just actually every once in a while you'll see me like doing some writing, or sometimes I'm on the chat, or I'm looking. And actually, I was just doing a quick tally and bringing this all back to my own narcissism, Chris, because it's, you know, it's always just a trip back to my own narcissism. I did a quick tally, and you know, I've had. So the basic premise was, have I had sex with someone who's religious? All right, that was the basic hypothesis. And I was saying no. Now, I've had someone who was in a cult, but they were not a theist-based cult.
Okay.
But that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I would say right now that I have not had, I have not known anyone biblically who was religious. And I feel like that's I feel like I might have dodged some bullets, you know. I mean, that's weird. That is weird. Maybe something about me that's so repulsive to religious people that they do not. Or maybe there's something about religion that I find so repulsive I can't even have intercourse with anyone who is a believer. If I ever go back into therapy, I'm going to have to mention that.
You know, I just don't remember. I remember. Yeah, I don't know. It's complicated to go into about the whole. Do I remember from when I was single and dating how I felt? I got a story. I got a story. I'm not gonna name any name. Well, I don't even remember her name. Anyway, I went on this date with this lady I met at my car insurance place, and she was really nice. She was like brunette with the pretty kind of brunette girl. And we went to eat, then we went back to her house. We were just chilling. I think I don't know what we were doing. We never did anything. We never did the coitus or none of those things. None of the hanky pankies. But she started talking to me about how she loved Jesus and how big a part of her life he was, and how she had sexual dreams about Jesus and she could feel him in her. She even had a girlfriend who felt the same way. I know, Andy, this gets you up to the camera, buddy, like that. It does. But yeah. And then, I mean, she also had other things going on. Like she had this thing for power couples and blah, 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 blah. But Jesus, you know, like the actor who, this was a warning, but wait, the actor who played Henry Cavill, who plays Superman, she was so into Superman and saw him as Jesus, as the representation of Jesus, that she would talk about him as if he was a real person that would come by. I mean, it's hard to explain, but in the couple of times I spent time with her, that was one wacky Christian right there.
Well, that's a lot to unpack, Chris, and I'm going to try to unpack some of that. So you chatted up this woman at your car insurance store or office.
I did.
Okay. And at what point and so you're on the first date.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so first date conversation. Hey, you know, I like cats. Do you like cats? I like long walks on the beaches. Sure. And by the way, I have dreams that Jesus comes and I have intercourse with him. Is that correct? Is that basically how the conversation went?
All right. First of all, I got to say, in my defense, many a bale of hail weed has been smoked between then and now. So to remember the exact order in which things happen, right. I could say it would be a lie, to say. I just really remember the high points. I do remember discovering those things in her apartment while we were sitting at her coffee table doing the thing. So it wasn't at the dinner. It wasn't like she dropped these things on me at the office. Like, hey, would you want to go out with me? She's like, yes, let me bring Jesus. Jesus, where's Jesus? Oh, well, he'll show up later. None of that sort of happened. But it was like one of those things where she dropped it, and the whole thing, I mean, the whole notion that, but yeah, apparently it's a thing. Christian women fantasize about fornicating. I'm going to use the word fornicaking. I like that word, fornicating with Jesus.
Is this common? Because I haven't.
Manly, strong bulls.
I imagine. I imagine it's not. I mean, I'm so confused right now. I'm lost for words. Is it common for really religious women to dream that they're having intercourse with Jesus?
I don't know if she dreamt it. I think she fantasized about it. I don't know. You know what I mean? Maybe I said dreamed. I mean like a dream.
Well, and that actually makes it worse. The idea that this woman is actively fantasizing, because it's one thing to be in a dream state. You're asleep. Right. You're not really, these things just happen. But look at this mug. You see this mug? Henry would just love this mug. I know the kind of mug Henry would love, and of course that's Henry Cavill. I'm like, who's Henry? Henry Cavill. I'm like, you're really, that's the way she would talk about this guy. About, of course, Henry Cavill, Superman, Jesus. Okay, so therapy. So you're like hanging out, you're doing your thing, and she drops the I fantasize about having intercourse with Jesus. And how do you respond to that, Chris? Oh, right. I see what you're doing. Well, that seems to be a reasonable.
Except for in real life, it was much faster.
Wow. Yeah. Right to the door, man. Right to the door. So, wow. Well, congratulations on dodging that bullet, brother.
Yeah. I can see it later going, you could have told me about this crotch cooties you had. Well, Jesus didn't want me to tell you about the crotch cooties, because if we both have crotch cooties, then you'll never leave me. That's the kind of crazy brain I see coming, I mean, I don't want those kind of crazy brain. No need crazy brain. I'm the crazy one. That's not true. Wife's watching, I'm sure. She knows. We know she's the crazy one.
Wow. Well,
anyway.
Well, this conversation went in totally different directions than I thought it would go.
Well, we were talking about religion, though, and
we are talking about religion. And I'm responsible. I'm going to say that I was the one who was responsible for this weird diversion. Though you were able, in classic comedy duo fashion, you were able to and totally took the story in this weirder direction with this woman who had sexual fantasies about full insertion, I imagine. Full insertion Jesus. That's what we're going to call him. Full insertion Jesus.
I'm thinking put her in the buck kind of Jesus. I mean, this was just, all the way in there kind of Jesus. I can't imagine, with all the talk about calling priests pedophiles on this show, that this one's going to get monetized. So I feel confident that I could say it was balls deep Jesus.
Balls deep Jesus. Indeed.
I'm just saying, but I gotta be honest, so I was maybe 21 before I ever heard the word secular.
Right.
I had no idea that and I'm like, what does that mean? They're like, oh, we're of the world. I'm like, oh, okay, I got you. Anyway, all right, so that puts me, let's see, I was maybe, so I was probably 40 when I met this woman and learned. I did not know. I was mostly unawares. I was completely, absolutely unawares that women fantasized about copulating, fornicating, maybe fornicating. I don't know, but they're doing the copulating, fornicating thing with the Holy One, and that just kind of blew me away. I did not see that coming.
Well, there's probably
I gotta ask, is Jesus circumcised? Any ladies in the audience who happens to be copulating with Jesus, please let me know. Is he circumcised?
Jesus being part of the tribe, he would have to be.
Oh, he was. I'm sorry. Yes, I'm sorry. Never mind.
I mean, I know this brings up painful thoughts for some Christians thinking that Jesus was a Jew, but I'm just going to throw it out there that pretty much it's if he existed at all, the odds are that he was circumcised.
Oh yeah, no doubt. I have an actual show on my Evil God Mod. Well, my one of my episodes of Quickie with the Skeptic, I think it is, talks about how there's like 6 different foreskins of Jesus running around the Catholic Church. This church has got one, that church has got one. I'm like, what do you know about these things? Are they flavored?
Hey! I don't want to think about those things. This is a hard
Catholic
stop.
Church we're talking about.
This is a hard stop. This is a hard stop. I'm not thinking about the things I'm not going to think about. I think William Jennings Bryan said that. I don't think about the things I don't think about. That was in Inherit the Wind. Inherit the Wind. Yeah, that's Pope's trial. Yeah. I don't think about the things I don't think about.
Hands up, hands up. You know what? I tell you what, somehow we made it through the hour. Yeah. So I think rather than to continue talking about the penis of Christ, we probably should go ahead and close up the show. So
I think that's safe. I think that's safe.
No personal fouls or false start.
No personal files. Hey, you know what? It was William Jennings Bryan. He was the lawyer in the Snopes trial. Bam! On fire, Andy Hall. Not just a guy
firing off both synapses today.
Havoc wonders if we have done an episode about Jesus being made up Roman propaganda. We haven't done about that. I'm sure Chris will find a guest who will wax philosophic about that or get us straight with that.
We've got Dragons and Genesis podcast is in the channel. Is that something, Jason, you'd be wanting to talk about? How some people believe that Jesus is actually just a creation by the Romans to control those wacky Jews back in the day?
It was for the Gentiles. The Roman state was pretty was in trouble. It was in trouble during Constantine's time and before Constantine's time. But we should talk about what I'm doing, Chris, tomorrow morning at 7 a.m.
What are you doing, Andy?
Jonathan Pierce, who is a blogger on Pathias, he was on this channel election night.
And I was a dick to the guy. I was a dick. Anyway, Jonathan Pierce.
You were. I had to. Well, Jonathan's really phlegmatic. He's a very calm person, so he can handle people like you, Chris. That's what he can do.
Good. You did tell him I wasn't always a dick. It's just like a percentage.
Yeah, that's what I did. That's what I did.
Yeah, Chris meet bus meet Chris. Carry on.
Well, 7 o'clock tomorrow morning. I'm doing a live. Yes, 7 o'clock in the morning. He's a Brit. This is the time that works for us. 7 o'clock in the morning tomorrow. We're going to be talking about the recent beef, the recent controversy he's gotten himself into with William Lane Craig, Christian apologist extraordinaire. So it should be fun. If you have questions, comments, observations, come on the channel super early, 7 a.m. Eastern. That's what we're doing. Oh, that's what I'm doing tomorrow before coming on this show.
Wow, that's crazy early. Hey, that's cool. I'll be up though. So
cool.
If you'll remind me, I'll come watch and promote with. So yeah.
Oh yeah, well, 7 a.m.
Awesome. Well, I'm going to do a little self-promoting here. I'm going to run a commercial before we leave with another funny commercial like right. It's just the one we saw yesterday. So in case you didn't see it, it's new, it's funny. But I've got a new channel I'm trying to grow. It's called the Chris Mallard Show. I'm trying to leave the religion on the Daily Atheist Morning Show, leave it here. And I'm trying to move my political nutbaggery over to the Chris Mallard Show. Every now and then, if something comes up, we'll talk politics here. I'm not scared of it, but I'm trying to move my nutbaggery over to the Chris Mallard Show channel. So if you're not subscribed to the Chris Mallard Show channel, I'm going to drop a link. Please go over there, subscribe. If you like my liberal progressive nutbaggery and you want to hear me talk about Trump and how shitty he is and all the political scumbags, blah, 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 blah. If you like that stuff, subscribe over there. I'll drop a link in just a second while the commercial's going. So you guys watch the commercial. Thank you, Andy, for joining me. Thank you, everybody in the chat. Thank you to everybody in YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, the podcast live. You guys are all wonderful. Have a wonderful day. We will see you tomorrow.
Be strong.
Hello all, Chris Mallard here, atheist extraordinaire, host of the Daily Atheist Morning Show, and currently burning in hell. Oh, don't worry about me. I'm not dead. I'm just down here for the annual Christmas party. I mean, annual Solstice Awards party. The Dark One, or Lucy as he is affectionately known, is personally handing out the awards. Aaron Ra is getting the award for the most souls brought down by evolution for his African Fossil Hunt, and Matt Dillahunty has won the Golden Phallus Award for being a dick to the most Christians. Oh wait. It's the Golden Fallacy Award for the confusing the most Christians. Easy mistake to make. To top it off, Seth Andrews has lent his voice to the Gregorian chants this year. It's delightfully hellish. Gotta run. I hope you all had a happy Thanksgiving, if you're into that sort of thing, and I want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas. I mean, a happy holidays, happy solstice, and a happy new year. Stay safe, heathens. Party hard, fornicate, that sort of thing. But do it safely.
Thank you for watching the show. A special shout out to my gold level Patreon supporters, Cindy Plaza and Ian Davenport. Thank you and have a great day. Thank you for watching the show. A special shout out to my gold level Patreon supporters, Cindy Plaza and Ian Davenport. Thank you and have a great day.